Hello friends, welcome to Nihira Techiees. This video I'm going to explain the complete feature of jQuery. So before going to the video, let me provide some short notes. So this video is suitable for both beginners and experienced people. So here we can cover all the basic concept of jQuery, including all the features with some proper examples. At the end we can see some advanced topics also. And one more thing, I would say confidently, if you completely watch this video, you will be familiar on jQuery and you can work on any jQuery related project, okay? So now let me provide some overview of jQuery. So jQuery is an JavaScript library. So it is the client-side scripting language. It is completely free of cost, open source. And this jQuery library is lightweight and it is having the minified version, so it is improving the performance also. And the syntax is very simple, so we can use very easily, and mainly we can do any activities in this HTML. Okay, so that means we can assign some values to these HTML controls, and also we can get the values, and we can do this event handling. We can modify the CSS, we can apply for some animations. So mainly we can create some dynamic HTML contents that we can append, and also we can remove it, and it is supporting for this Ajax call. So moreover, it is providing lot of plugins for achieving some special functionalities. For the example, I would say we can use this jQuery data table. So it will provide the search functionality and sorting and pagination. Okay, so if you are manually writing the code, it will take a lot of lines and a lot of efforts are required. If you are using this plugins, you have to call the plugin in top of that. So after that, you may need to write 3 to 4 lines of codes only. So this is for table the similar way, the input controls, we can use this autocomplete. So in this select controls, we can achieve this searchable drop downs and graphs. So many options was there, we can see a little later. And the very important thing is you should know the basics, then only you can use any of the plugins. Okay, so that's what I'm going to cover all the topics one by one. The first thing is adding the plugins. Okay, so if you are using this jQuery, it's a mandatory to having these plugins. So basically 3 ways we can use these plugins. The first one is through the NuGet package we can install it. Other ways, you can refer some CDN links. Through the npm command also we can include our jQuery. So let me take the second option. So using this CDN link, this is the very easiest one. Just to go to the browser and search like jQuery CDN link. So here we can take this latest version. Let me take this minified one. Okay, just to copy it. And then the basic requirement, you should have any of the editor. For me, this Visual Studio is very familiar. That's what I'm taking this Visual Studio. So you can use your own editor. If you don't have any editor, you can use the Notepad also. Okay. So let me include in this header side, and I'm going to remove these things. It's not required. Okay. And then we have to verify it is whether it is working or not. So in this body, I'm going to include one more script. So here I'm going to write this onload event of jQuery. Document.readyOf function of. So this is the onload method. So it will be executed when our DOM is ready. Okay. Once all of our HTML is loaded, so it should be executed. Here I'm going to provide one alert. So let me save it. I'm going to run this one. So if you are using some other editors, you have to just to browse it in our any of the browser. Okay. So see, now we are getting this alert. That means our jQuery is working fine. Okay. So the next thing is selectors. So basically selectors are used to select any of the HTML elements in this DOM. Okay. So basically we have 6 types of selectors. The first one is ID selectors, and the second one is class, then attribute, So the name type. So even this name and type also comes under this attribute. And the final one is element name. Element name is nothing but our element. Like input means the input is the element name. And if you are using the select controls, then select is the element name. Okay. First, we can start from this ID selector. So if you are using this ID selector, you have to use this hash symbol. And one of the entry question, which one is the fastest selector? So fastest selector is nothing but this ID selector only, okay? Because the ID is the unique one. So it will select only one control. So, okay. So let me go to our code. I'm going to explain it. Here I'm going to create one input tag. So in this input tag, I'm going to provide one ID. So in this onload event, I'm going to set some values. So our selectors, as I mentioned, it will select the particular HTML element. So let me select this one. So here the syntax is dollar. Then as I mentioned, we have to use this hash symbol. Then let me provide this ID. So let me set some values. Value. I'm going to provide the value is testing. Okay, let me save it. I'm going to refresh the screen once again. So now we have this text box. So in this text box, initial itself the value is assigned. Okay. So in case if I'm changed this one, so here the value also got changed. Now the second selector is class selector. So based on the class, we can select all the HTML elements. Okay. So what I'm going to do, let me create one more HTML control. Text email, and the type should be email, and the class I'm going to provide form control. So let me assign based on the class. So for the class selector syntax is dot. Okay. So procedure is same. So instead of this hash, you have to use this dot, and then we have to provide this class name. And the same way, I'm going to assign some values. Class selector. So let me save it. See now we have the second control. So here the text is class selector. So basically this class selectors will select n number of controls. So what are the controls are having the same class, it will select. So let me change my first control also having the same class. Let me save it. I'm going to refresh the screen. See the value now. So both the controls are having the same value. Why? Because so okay, the first it is assigning this value testing, and the next line it is assigning this class selectors. So the latest value will be available in these controls. So based on this class selectors we have assigned. Okay. Now let me move on this attribute based selectors. So if you are using any attribute, the syntax is same only. Let me show you. So if you are using this attribute, first you have to mention this element name. I'm going to provide some values. Actually, this is the element selector only. So anyway, let me verify this one also. See now the value has changed into element. So because both are the input element only, that's what it is changed like that. Here I'm going to apply this attribute. For having this attribute selectors, the syntax is after the element you have to use this rectangular braces, then specify our attribute type. So here I'm going to take this type, and this type you have to provide this value. So then you have to provide some values. So let me save it. So here the type email is only one control. The first controls don't have any type. So let me provide some type text. If you are not providing, it is automatically taking text as the default type. Okay. Let me refresh it. See now, first control is having this select controls. The second control is only having this exact email. So the similar way, we can use some names also. Let me provide one name, form. I am going to change this type into name. Then the value is form. So the value should be name. So let me refresh it. See now the first control is only having this name. So in case if I am applying the same name for the next control also, so both are having same value. Okay. So this is all about the basic selectors. I hope you got some better idea. Even if you are not understanding properly, in my upcoming topics will give some clear cut of idea. Okay. So let me move on this page load functions. So in this jQuery we have three types of page load functions. The first one is document.ready function. So it is executed when the HTML document is loaded and also our DOM is ready. And the second one is dollar function of both are same only. And the third one is window.onload function. So basically this one is executed when the complete page is fully loaded, including images and frames and any objects. If everything is loaded, our page is completely ready. So then only this function is executed. Okay. For the testing purpose, let me include it here. Whether it is working or not, I am going to use same alert. I am going to refresh it. Okay, we are getting this alert. So this onload function also working fine. So let me comment it. Let me move on to the next topic. Assigning values to the HTML elements and also getting the values from these HTML elements. So for that we have these three syntax. So we can see one by one. First let me take this VAL. So this VAL applicable for all the form controls. So what are the controls are having this value property? It is applicable. So it includes this input controls, select and text area. So let me take this input controls. So we already seen we are assigning some values, right? So in this text.name using this VAL syntax, we are assigning this value. So let me command the other things. So now we are assigning the values and let me show you how to get the values also. So instead of writing code here, I'm going to have one button. So here the concept are having one-to-one relationship. Click here. Okay. Here I'm going to have an ID. So these selectors are used for any HTML controls. That's what I'm trying to say. Button click. So let me take this ID. Here I'm going to write one click function. So the procedure is same. First I'm going to select this button. So let me use this ID selector. So here I'm going to bind this click event. Okay. Here I am going to get the values from this first control. I am going to declare one value here, name, and again the step is same. So for assigning, what is the syntax we are using? The same syntax only. Let me copy it. If you are not providing any value, it will return the existing data. That is the syntax. If you are passing some values here, it will be assigning to the controls. If you are not passing, it will be just returning it. Okay. So once I'm having this value, let me include in this console. Okay, so initially we have this testing. So if you noted in this console, we don't have any value. When I'm clicking this button, we are getting this testing value. And let me change this one, Nihira Techiees. So if I'm clicking once again, so whatever the current value is there, we are just getting. Okay. So in this way, we can get the value. So as I mentioned, this is applicable for input controls and select text area. So let me create one select control also. And here also, I'm going to provide one ID. Let me include some options. So in these options, I'm going to include this value property also. First, let me refresh the screen. So defaultly India is selected. Now let me change this one. First, let me assign the value. So let me copy the same thing what actually we have done for the input controls. And then let me change this ID. And the value, you have to provide this value. I'm going to change this into Pakistan. Let me refresh it. See now, defaultly Pakistan is selected. Okay. And now let me get the values from these controls. So here also the procedure is same. Let me copy this one. And I'm going to remove this one. Okay. So in this console, I'm going to create one more console. See now I'm clicking. So we are getting this PAK. Now let me change this one. If I'm clicking, now I'm getting this India. So if I'm changing this one to China, I'm getting this value. So even if required, we can take this text also that we can see little later. So now you got some better idea about using this VAL controls. Now let me move on this text. So basically this text is used for this read-only controls like paragraph and header controls like H1, H2, H3, span, labels. So in these cases, we can use this text. So let me explain here. So after the button, I'm going to have one span tag. Okay. And in this ID, so initially it's don't have any value. So when I'm clicking this button, I'm going to set some values. So the selectors and the syntax are same only. So instead of this val, I'm going to change into text. Okay. If I'm putting like this, it will return the value. But actually I'm trying to assign. So what I'm going to do, let me provide some value. Data changed. So in the initial page load, we are unable to see the controls. So when I'm clicking this one, see now, so the text is changed. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, let me take the value from this text box. I'm going to assign into this span. So already we have this name. I'm going to include here. I'm going to refresh it. Data modified. See now the data modified is coming. So if I'm removing everything, currently it's empty. So see now here also we have this empty value. And if I'm putting this testing, so the value got assigned. So this concept is not only for span. So if you are having this label paragraph H1, so all the tags we can use the same concept. Now let me show you how to get the values also. So what I'm going to do, so initially I'm going to provide some values here. Welcome here, and the procedure is same. Var message. So let me remove it. So then it will return the value. So instead of adding this one into the console, I'm going to explain this debugger concept. So using this debugger, we can check line by line. So first you should have this inspect element mode. Let me refresh it. So when I'm clicking this button, it will be triggered. See now? So in this name, country, whatever value you are having, we can see. Now if I'm pressing this F10, so it is moving. So if I mouse overing, I'm able to get the values. Welcome here. Okay. Let me continue this one. So in this way we can debug it. So if I'm changing this debugger top of that, I'm going to include one more debugger. See now, if I'm clicking, it will be fired. So if I'm pressing F10, first I can see this name, then country. So then it is adding to the console. So finally I'm getting this message. So in this way, the real-time application, you have to debug and the line by line, we can see the data changes. So let me click this continue. So final one is HTML. This HTML also working similar to this text, but it is having some small difference. Let me show you. So I'm going to have one more span tag here. Okay. So we have two span tags. So let me comment everything. So in the first span tag, I'm going to provide some text. Welcome to Nihira Techiees. Let me duplicate it. Okay, we changed the ID and also I'm going to change this text into HTML. So if you clearly noted, I am assigning the same value only. So first let me save this one. Now I'm going to refresh the screen. So I'm going to click this button. See now, so both are span tag. So both are having the same value, but I'm used the syntax is different, text and HTML. Now what I'm going to do, so inside the text, I'm going to have one tag. So that is the bold tag, okay? Now I'm going to refresh the screen once again. I'm going to click this button once again. See the output now. It is completely changed, right? For this output, we are used the HTML. So if you are using this HTML, so if there is any tag, it will be considered as the HTML tag. So other than tag, it will be considered as the text. But if you directly using this text, whatever data you are providing, whether it is having some tag or nothing, it will take as the text. That's what it is assigned. Okay. So this is the difference between HTML and text. So even this HTML is used for appending some dynamic HTML content also that we can see little later. Now let me move on our next topic, event handling. So basically we have n number of events like a click event already we have seen. The similar ways we can see some key events like a key up, key down and blur. So a lot of key events was there, and then mouse events like a mouse enter, mouse down, mouse leave, and the similar way this focus. So we have a lot of events. So all the events we can manage through our jQuery. Okay. So first already I have explained this click event. Now let me move on this key up and key down events like a key events especially. Okay. So we can take this input control. That is fine. So I'm going to command the existing code. So for the reference, I'm having it. So again, the syntax is same only. And here, I'm going to use this key up. So let me save it. And in this console, so whatever data is available in this text name, I'm going to just bind it here. So this, so we can use this selector of hash symbol. Otherwise, the event is happening in this particular controls. That's what we are using this keyword. Okay. Let me save it here. So in the console, initially we don't have any values. So if you noted, currently we don't have any value. So if I'm clicking this T, it is there. So now you can see, right? The data change. So whenever I am clicking this key, automatically the data has changed. Let me refresh it. So the same way is applicable for change and key down also. So instead of this key up, I'm going to provide this change. So I'm just typing. So currently we don't have any values in this console. If I am out of this particular controls, you can see the values in this console. See now. So that means our data is changed. Whenever the focus is out, automatically, so the value will be captured in this console. This is the change event, and then key up, then key down. So whenever I am typing, automatically you can see like a Nihira, NIHI for the every text change. So the key down is happened. So automatically the value got printed in our console. Okay. So this is all about the key event. Now let me move on to the mouse events. So mouse events, first I'm going to use this mouse enter. So let me save it. Okay. Actually, some empty values there. So let me provide some value test. So if I'm coming here, the test is there. So again I'm going, see the count is increased. Test data. So I'm just mouse overing. So automatically, so the data has been changed. Okay. So this is the mouse center. The similar way we can use this mouse leave and mouse down. I'm going to use this mouse leave. See now, currently I'm over this mouse. There is no data. I'm added some values. So once the mouse got leaved, automatically see it is included. Again, I'm just entering if I'm moving. So automatically count got changed. Okay. So this is all about the event handling, and if you want get more events, just to go to the W3 schools. So they will provide some lot of workaround for the examples. You can just to work it out from this browser itself. So if you want to do some workouts, just click this try itself. So here they actually hiding. So if you are clicking any of the tag, it will be hidden, you know. So the similar way, all the events they have the examples, so you can verify one by one. Okay. Now let me move on this attribute. So basically, all the HTML handles having some special attributes. So in the selectors itself, already we have seen. So using this attribute also, we can select the HTML elements. The same way we can add and remove the attribute to the existing elements. So that let me show you. So currently in the text name, so we have this name attribute. So what I'm going to do, let me remove it. So once I'm removed, so in the page load, I'm going to add this dynamic attribute. So first you have to select this control, tune name, and I'm going to use the syntax is attribute. So our attribute name is name, and the value I'm going to provide form data. Okay, let me save it. I'm going to refresh the screen. So let me inspect this one. See, now it is having this name of form data. So in the default controls don't have this name. From the JavaScript we have added. And the similar way we can remove this attribute also. For removing this attribute, the syntax is almost the same. Remove attribute. So here I'm going to use this text email and remove attribute, and we have to provide the attribute name. That's it. Okay. Now let me save it. So if you are noted here, we have the name is form. I'm going to refresh the screen once again. Okay, still it's there. Okay, we got, okay, still it's there. Let me verify it. Actually, we are getting one error. So remove attribute is not in the syntax. Okay, let me change this one. Actually, this should be caps. I'm going to refresh it once again. Okay, now it is working fine. So see now. So if you noted in this HTML document, you can see this name. But if you are inspecting, it is not there because we have removed it. So this concept is not applicable for name. So you can use for any of the attribute. Okay. So let me change this type also. So first control I'm going to provide the type is telephone. That is the telephone number. And the second one I'm going to remove it. I'm going to refresh the screen once again. See now, the first one is having this tel, and the second one initially it is having as the email. So now it is removed. So in this way we can handle this attribute in our jQuery. And the next one is property. Property and this attribute almost similar, but it is having some difference. Okay. So let me consider this checked property and then disabled property. I'm going to command these existing items. I'm going to take the first control. So here I am going to provide the property prop. The syntax is like this only. Here I'm going to specify the property disabled and then value true or false. I'm going to refresh it. Okay, see now the control is disabled. Now I'm going to remove this disability. Okay, let me copy this one. I'm going to include it top of that, and then let me uncomment this button click event. So in this button click, I'm going to provide the value as false. Let me save this one. See now it is initially it's disabled. So if I'm clicking this one, so the disability got removed. Okay, great. As of now, we have changed this property. The same way we can get the current property value, whether it is checked or not. That also let me show you where. So the syntax is almost the same. Let me copy the same thing. I am going to remove this value section. So here we can use this debugger. Let me inspect this one. I'm going to refresh the screen. So when I'm clicking this button, see now, so it is already disabled, right? That's what we are getting this true value. So let me implement this toggle function here, okay? So let me command this one. I'm going to refresh the screen once again. So initially it is disabled. So when I'm clicking this one, not disabled. If I'm clicking once again, it is disabled. So see now, we are achieved this toggle functionality, okay? So this is all about the property. So the similar way we can have some checkboxes that also we can do this checked or unchecked. The syntax is same only. Anyway, the testing purpose, I'm going to include that also here. So input type checkbox, ID is check. So instead of this disabled, I'm going to provide checked. Let me change this ID also. Checked. So let me refresh it. So we have this checkbox. So if I'm clicking, it is checked. If I'm clicking, this unchecked. See now, we are simply applied for this toggle functionality for our checkbox. So in this way, we can handle any of the property in this jQuery. So let me move on to the next topic, CSS handling. So here we can see this individual CSS like color and font, or else we can modify the complete classes also. First, let me explain this one, individual CSS. So let me take this span tag. Here I'm going to provide some value. Welcome to NT. Let me copy this one. I'm going to set some font size after the button click. First, let me select this control and the syntax is CSS. Okay. Here, font weight. Then we have to provide this value. So initially you have to see welcome to NT. If I'm clicking, so it is changed into bold. So similar way we can change some other styles also. Let me go into change this color. So if I'm clicking, I'm getting this color. So the same way, what are the CSS value currently is there, that also we can take. The step is almost the same only. So in this alert, let me copy the same thing. So you have to remove this setting value side. So this semicolon, okay, I'm going to include before and after. Let me save it. First I'm going to click this one. I'm getting this RGB 000. That means it's a black color. So second time I'm getting this 01280. So this is the RGB code for this green color. Okay, so let me close this one. So next let me tell you how to add and remove the classes. I'm going to comment this section. Anyway, it is helpful for your reference. First, I'm going to create one class here. So inside the header, let me create it. Style text.css success message color is green. So the same way I'm going to create one more class. Red. So let me take the same control once again. So what I'm going to do, so in this page load, I'm going to add this success message. So the syntax is add class. So let me refresh it. So now you can see, right, it is in this green color. So if you want the change, I can give this error message also, then it should be a red color. Okay, and now what I'm going to do, let me remove this one. So in this button click, I'm going to remove it. So the syntax is, instead of this add, you have to use this remove. So here this class, the first letter C should be a capital letter. I'm going to refresh it. So initially it's in this red color. So if I'm clicking this one, so the class has been removed. That's what it is again moved to this black color. You can see now there is no classes. So actually we have this class, but the class value has been removed. Okay. So in case if I'm having more than one class, so let me save it. I'm going to refresh the screen. See now it is in the red color, but if you are inspecting, you can see the both the classes are available. So if you are adding any class, it could be added. It is not going to replace it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, so when I'm clicking this button, it will be removing this error message. See now it is changed into green color because it is just removed the one class, still it is having the success class. So that's what we are seeing in this green color. Okay. So this is all about the handling styles and CSS. Okay. Let me move on to the next topic, dynamic HTML content. So basically for adding dynamic HTML content used for the below scenarios, loading this table body and generating the menu list dynamically, and for generating the options for the select controls. Okay, so let me show you how to implement this one. So first I'm going to create one table. Okay, this is the basic table. Here I'm going to dynamically append some content. So inside this button click, I'm going to create one tier, dynamic tier. So it is having 3 columns. So the value I'm going to provide some hardcode values. First one is the ID, then name. Okay, this is one of the dynamic HTML content. So let me append this one into our table. So the procedure is same. I'm going to use this ID selector. Let me select this table. But in the table, we are going to append in this t body only. Then let me do like this t body. So here I'm going to use this append. So this is the keyword. I'm going to include it. So let me save this one. So if I'm clicking this one, see now one new row is added. So how many times I'm clicking? So based on that, the same row only added because it's the hard-coded data. But in the real time, we will have our data in this array. So we have to make some for loop. So based on that, we have to bind in this table. That also I'm going to cover. So before that, I want to convey one more information. So as of now, I used this append keyword. The same way we have to use one more keyword is called append true. So let me command this one. That also I'm going to show you. First I have included this tr. Then our syntax is append true. So actually we are appending to our table body. Okay. So let me copy the same thing here. I just added. So let me save it. We can verify once again. See now, again it is added. And one more option was there, that is actually HTML. Okay, let me comment this one and we can comment this one. So instead of this append, we can use this HTML. So if I'm clicking, first time the row gets added. If I'm clicking many times, it's not going to add because, so if you are using this HTML, it is completely replacing. So if you are providing some new content, it will be replacing the existing content. But if you are using this append, it is not going to affect the existing content. Instead of that, it will be added as the extra items. Okay, so that is the difference. Now I'm going to bind the data from some list. For making the for loop, so in this jQuery we have two options. The first one is map and the second one is each. So let me explain both the things. So first what I'm going to do, let me have one array. Here I'm going to have some static data. I'm going to include two more objects. Okay, currently we have these three data. So I'm going to bind these items into our table. So what I'm going to do, let me make this for each function. So let me use this each function. So $.each, this is the syntax. So here I just passed this array. Okay, then this function, so it is having index and also item, just a for loop. Okay, and let me move these two lines into the inside of the loop. I'm going to save it. I'm going to refresh the screen once again. So if I'm clicking, okay, I believe we have this HTML. So let me change into append. Okay, so see now if I'm clicking, there are three rows are coming. So still the static data only coming. So let me bind the real data. Okay, so instead of this hard-coded ID, we can use the dynamic data from the array. ID. So let me save it. I'm going to refresh the screen once again. So if I'm clicking, see now it is 1, 2 and 3. So the same way we can change for name and also the status. See now I have refreshed once again. So if I'm clicking, see now Nihira, then Amla, Shiny. So all are different records. So let me change this status also inactive. I'm going to refresh it once again. So if I'm clicking, see now. So the same thing we can achieve using this map also. So if you are using this map, there is only one change. Instead of this each, we have to use this map, and this index and item also, the area has been changed. So first item, second only the index. Okay, I'm going to refresh it once again. So now it is working fine. So how many times you are clicking, every time it's adding again and again. So avoiding these situations, what we supposed to do, let me move here. Okay, so instead of this append, we can use this HTML, and we can declare this tr also outside. So initial value should be empty. I'm going to refresh the screen once again. So if I'm clicking, see now, so we have the data. So if I'm clicking many times also, it is simply refreshing. So whatever data is available in this array, it is just looping the for loop, and finally we have the complete HTML content. It is just replacing the existing content. That's what it's working. The same way we can bind for the select control also. Okay. Okay, our next topic is Ajax. This is the very important topic. So if you are using any real-time application, it is having the crucial role. Let me explain that also. First, the syntax is $.ajax. Okay, this is should be like this. Here, the first input is URL. So URL is nothing but the endpoint. So if you have any API, you are trying to access the API from your application, then you can use this API endpoint. Otherwise, if you are using this MVC application, we can give the URL is nothing but controller action method. So anyway, let me keep it is empty. And the second property is type. So which type of request we are using, whether it is get or put or post. I am going to provide as the post. Okay. And the next one is data. So what is the data we are going to pass to our server? So if you are having any kind of objects, you can convert into JSON format. So for that we have this JSON dot stringify. Okay. So the next one is data type. So this data type is nothing but what is the kind of data type we are getting as the output. Okay. So I am going to provide as the JSON, and the next one is content type. Okay. So this content type is nothing but what is the kind of data type we are posting to our request. So I am going to provide application for JSON. Okay. And the next we are going to provide two functions. So the first one is success. So if your request get passed, so you will get the response from here. Okay. So in case there is a failure, we can use one more function. So failure. So here you will get the failure response. Okay. So this is the syntax of Ajax. So currently I don't have any API. So that's what I'm not going to test this function. Anyway, the same playlist I have added some other videos. So it's a kind of .NET Core MVC application. There I have used many Ajax call. So if you refer that videos, you will get the better idea about this Ajax call. Okay. So anyway, let me comment this one. It is useful for our reference. Now let me move on our next topic. I am going to explain this accessing elements inside the tables. So that means how to access the child elements. Okay, that's what the concept here. So let me show you. So what I'm going to do, let me have one div tag first. Okay, so inside the div we have these two controls. Okay, now let me explain how to access these two elements. So here I am going to provide one ID first, div main. Okay, so in this button click, I'm going to command the existing items. So var control equal to, okay. So exactly if you know this element, you have to provide the element name. So we are getting all the elements inside of the particular div. That's what our concept. So next, what I'm going to do. So I believe basically we will get two items here. So let me create one for loop. So here the item is nothing but the controls. So var name equal to this item dot value. Let me provide one debugger here. I'm going to refresh it. So if I'm clicking, see now. So in the first control having the empty value only, that's what we are getting this empty. So anyway, I'm going to provide some values, then only we know. So I'm going to click it is once again. See now. So first we are getting this Nihira, and the second time we are getting this Techiees. Okay. So next what I'm going to do, let me create some elements inside our table. So this is our table. Already I have commented some lines. Yes. So let me include two more columns. So the first one is for salary and the second one is for action. Okay. So after the status, I'm going to create one more TD. So in this TD, I'm going to have one input and the ID should be text salary. And the next TD, this is for the action. So here I'm going to provide one anchor tag and the name I'm going to provide delete. Okay. So let me refresh it. So two columns are added. So if I'm clicking this one, so in this salary, I'm having this text box here. I can enter some values. Okay. I'm going to provide 1000, 2000, something like that. Okay. So instead of this anchor tag, we can use this button, and also here I'm going to use it also remove. So it is having one input. The input should be this. So let me define it. Let me put this as the element. Okay, let me click. Yeah, it is fine. So now I'm going to inspect this one. We can verify this function. Yeah, we have this function also. This is fine. So now what I'm going to do, let me implement this delete function. That means we are removing some HTML content using this jQuery. That's it. Okay. So in this remove function, so we are providing us this. This is nothing but our anchor tag. I mean our button only. So what I'm going to do, using this button, we can get the current row. So this, so for this already we have this element dot closest tr. So once we have this row, so we can access all the elements belong to the particular row. Okay. So let me take this salary value here. Bar salary equal to. So already we have this row. So here I'm going to find the control is input. So currently we have only one control, so we can directly put like this. Or else if you have this multiple controls, then you have to use this ID. Yeah, text salary value. Okay. So this is fine. Let me verify it. Whether it is working or not, that we need to confirm first. Okay, all the data are loaded. Here I'm going to provide 1000, and the first line I'm going to provide 2000, then 3000. Okay. Now let me click the second one. Okay. Yeah, actually we have to use this on click. So now it is fired. Let me continue it. So let me provide the values once again. So now I'm going to click the second row. If done, see now we are able to get this 2000. So similar way we can access all the fields. That's what the concept here. So as I mentioned, I'm going to remove this particular row, right? So that also we can implement it. So after getting this one, remove off. So let me load it once again. So I'm going to click this one. So the debugger is coming. So we are able to get the salary, it's empty value. The next line, see now, it is got removed. Currently we have only two rows. See now. So if I'm clicking this click here, all the data are loaded. Okay, now I'm going to explain how to apply some validations for this inside of the table controls. Okay, so the idea is when I'm clicking this delete button, I will check whether I'm having some values in the salary. If it is there, I will delete. If I don't have any values, I will give some red mark. I mean, I will make this border as the red color. That's what my intention. So let me show you how to achieve this one. SAL control. So here I am just accessing the control. I'm not taking any values. So once I'm having this control, I can directly get it. Okay. Here let me check the condition. Salary not equal to empty. I will remove this one. Else I will make the border for applying any styles. We have the syntax is CSS border color. The value should be red. So let me save it. I'm going to refresh the screen once again. So if I'm clicking, okay, the screen is loaded. If I'm clicking this delete button, see the border is changed. So if I'm providing some values, test. Now if I'm clicking, it is got deleted. And one more thing, so if I'm entering some values, it's the border should be automatically changed into previous gray color. So that also we can achieve. For doing this one, I am going to include one more function. It's called onChange. Let me copy this one. We can create it. So here the element is nothing but our salary input control only. So no need to take this closest here or something like that. So let me declare one more variable, salary element value. So if salary double equal to empty or else not equal to empty, I will make the border into gray color. Else it should be red. So here this element is nothing but our control. So we can change this one. Let me verify this one also. See now initial value should be something. So if I'm providing 100, it's fine. So if I'm removing everything, see now it is changed into red color. So if I'm providing 100 or 1000, it's fine. 2000. So if I'm clicking this button, it is showing this red color. Now I'm going to provide some value. See now the border has changed. Now I'm able to delete this one. So in this way we have to access these child elements using this jQuery. Okay. So now we have completed how to access the child elements and these plugins and minified versions animation that I can give some overview That is actually not that much important, this animation. This plugin is very much important. If I'm going to the browser, I can search like a data table jQuery. Okay, so if I go there, see now one table is there. It is having this pagination and this search option. Okay, and also you can see this sorting. So if you want use this functionality, first you should have one table. It should have some data. Okay, after that you have to use this CSS link in your application for the exact style and design. Then you have to refer this plugin jQuery data table.min.js. So this is the plugin you have to refer in your HTML page. So after that, inside of this document.editor function, so you have to select your table like this. So after that, you just call this data table. So it will provide all the features. Okay. So here also we can do some customization. So this customization I have covered in some other videos that are also available in this playlist. I will share that playlist also in the description. You can watch it. And this minified version. Okay, minified version is nothing but, so whatever code actually we are doing, we can create the separate JS file. We can move all the codings into the particular JS file. So the limited lines now, currently we have just 169 lines, but in the real time heavy plugins have more than lakhs of lines. Okay, then file size should be very high. So in this case, we have some online tools also for doing the minification. It will minify and it will reduce the complete size. Okay, so that also we can use. It's simply compressing our file. And the next one is animation. That also a kind of interesting thing. For the animation, you just refer this W3 schools. Let me show you the steps. Go to the W3 schools. Here you have to go this jQuery effects. Here the first one is animate only. Just click like this. Okay, see now they have included one animation. So if I'm clicking this, so if I'm clicking this reset, it is changed. Okay, so the syntax is same. So the button click, they have used this animate keyword. So using that, they are changing the size. Okay, so similar way we can see a lot of examples was there. Okay, and the same way we have this fade in, fade out, and fade to finish, hide and show, slide up, slide toggle. So all the functions you have to work out it. Still, if you have any doubts or clarification, please post in the comment box. And also please don't forget to subscribe my channel. So this is the basic video only. So same playlist I have added several videos. That's all about this .NET Core MVC application. There we have used this jQuery in the many places. So someone is referring that videos without this jQuery knowledge, it's very difficult to read. So that's what I have created this video. Thank you. Thanks for watching.